Hello, and we are back for the third series of Black Tech Broadcast. My name is Monica Lee, and I'll be your host for this afternoon. And today's series is going to be all about how to hack the process, CVs, applications, and interviews. So make sure to get your notepad, get anything you need to write down them notes, because it's going to be a very insightful and also informative conversation. So for the first speaker, I have Deborah. So if this is your first time coming on, this is how it works. We have two sessions. So the first session will be 30 minutes where we're going to talk to Deborah. She is absolutely amazing. She has done some fantastic, phenomenal work in the community. She is an advisor, founder, and CEO of YSYS, and also an organization providing employment entrepreneurship. She has been named Computer Weekly Rising Women in Tech of 2020 and respectfully in 2019 and 2018, and listed as UK's top 100 Black and minority ethnic leaders in technology by Financial Times. So she has done some great work. And you know what? Instead of me just talking, because you know what, Deborah, I think it's time to just have you on. Let's have a conversation. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. So thank you for having me.
It's lovely to see your face too. We love it. So you are the founder of YSYS. So first of all, it would be great for you to just let us know, what does YSYS stand for?
So it stands for Your Startup, Your Story. Sometimes people say yes, yes, like the Obama campaign, and we do not mind that. But it stands for Your Startup, Your Story, and we're a diverse startup community. And essentially what we do is design and deliver programs for diverse talent to kickstart their careers in tech or launch startups. In addition to that, we support organizations to build a diverse and inclusive culture so that they can retain talent that looks like us, and really campaign and lobby and encourage the government to create inclusive policies that cater to our community.
Amazing. And what I would love to know is, why did you start YSYS? How did it all come together?
So that's a really interesting story. So I guess in my introduction, that's where we're at now. We're currently a team of six. I have such an incredible team. We have amazing advisors from Google to the founder of Teach First. We have amazing partners from the Mayor of London to Depop to Niantic, the creators of Pokemon Go, if you don't know. And it's so incredible to be running this business, which I started out 4 years ago as a tiny WhatsApp group. And essentially I was, in my early 20s, navigating the industry, the tech industry, as a non-techie. So I can't code, but I see myself in this tech career as very introverted, Black, a woman, not seeing people like me in the industry. And so I said, well, what would I do? What should I do? And so I remember going on Twitter, stalking a bunch of people that had hashtag diversity, hashtag startup, hashtag founder in their bio. And I DM'd them and said, hey, I'm starting a WhatsApp group for people that kind of look like us, that want to kind of get into the industry. What happened to be 30 individuals, part of a WhatsApp group, has over the 4 years turned into 15,000. And so over the past 4 years, we have provided access to opportunities for over 15,000 individuals within the UK. So yeah, I guess that's how it started, why I started it. We just need to see more folks that look like us in the industry, really.
That is fantastic to hear you say, from WhatsApp to now where you are. Like, that is literally phenomenal and very inspiring. So you are someone who we describe as having a portfolio career. Beyond YSYS, what do you do?
Oh yeah, so beyond YSYS, I never would see myself as having a portfolio career. So that's really interesting that other people see it that way. I guess outside of YSYS, I'm also an advisor for an organization called And Digital, which basically helps corporates outsource product or design or tech teams. I'm also an advisor for an organization called Coders of Color, which supports young Black talent get into coding and software engineering. So if you are someone under the age of 25 and you're looking to kind of find out how you can get into the industry, definitely check out Coders of Color. And in addition to those two roles, I also am an advisor for Number 10's Innovation Fellowship, which is a new scheme to encourage entrepreneurial talent to join the government and kind of help them transform from the inside and make their systems and their processes more innovative, more exciting, more digital. And in addition to that, I recently became an angel investor. And so what that means is that I over the course of the year, this company kind of trusted me with 100K. Why not? To like make small checks and to make small investments ranging from 5,000 to 15,000 into startups that are going to be the next big European leading startups in the industry. And I am particularly interested in diverse founders. Yeah, why not? So that's what I do in addition to my.
That is great. I'm like, I don't need to stop talking. I'm literally loving this. Okay, with regards to obviously setting up YSYS, and working with so many like Black founders and doing what you can do to make sure that visibility is something that it can be seen. What do you think needs to happen to see Black talent at the top of tech companies?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And I think we really need to begin to shift the conversation from there's a pipeline problem. We need to shift the conversation from diversity and inclusion and start talking about equity. I think the industry has done a great job, but still more needs to be done, right? In terms of diversifying the pipeline. We're seeing pathway programs, mentorship, incubators, internship programs. But how do we really begin to see talent move from associates to their managers? How do we see managers start to be moving into the C-suite position? Like we saw the stats, which was like zero, that are like zero Black individuals in 100 of the largest 100 of the largest companies in the industry. That's what we need to start talking about. So how do we get people into positions of power, equity, where they're given a budget to make decisions and bring on like partnership organizations in, where they're managing a team, where they're contributing to an organization's OKRs, when they're submitting their opinion to the board. Like that's where we need to start looking at. And that's where more work needs to be done. And I think that potentially can come through coaching, and really provide an executive coaching to talent that have been identified as future senior leaders. That's one way to start.
And do you have any advice for people who want to get into tech but aren't studying a tech-based subject?
Yeah, so if you want to get into tech, it depends on what like industry you want to get into. So if you want to be like a software engineer, there's loads of kind of coding boot camps. There's an organization called Coding Black Females, which are great. And they just partnered up with, I believe, Makers Academy, and they're giving out scholarship to Black women that want to become coders. So I will just say that again, Coding Black Females. If you've got your notes, like Monica said, do write them down. They have amazing scholarships going. As well as if you're like, you might be someone that's really interested in marketing or social media, but you want to work for a tech or tech adjacent company. Like, how can you go and work for Depop or Monzo? I would suggest really just what's the word? I guess equipping yourself with how that industry is moving. So signing up to newsletters such as Fem Street. Again, write this down, and that's a newsletter that talks about female founders, startups, how to get into VC, following articles such as TechCrunch, which talk about, how some of the leading tech companies are changing and what they're doing. So again, if you're not from a technical background, but you like to get into technical background, finding these kind of fellowship schemes. If you're you already have an expertise like marketing or business development, but want to work for a tech company, understand where that industry is moving and just stay up to date with like trending news and updates, and then use that to really position yourself in an interview as someone that's really interested in that role. That makes sense.
Deborah, you are dropping facts. Like, I'm trying to keep up because I'm like, this is what we need. So please, if there's any questions that you'd love for Deborah to answer, please don't be scared to type them in into the chat box so that I can make sure I feed that back and Deborah try and answer as much, because I know you're busy woman, you've got a lot of things going on, but just having you here right now is just such an amazing opportunity, and I just want everyone to just grab as much knowledge, as much insight as possible, because these are gems. So you mentioned about being an angel investor, and I'm like, I want to know more about this. You just dropped it in like, yes, I'm angel investor XYZ. So is there any tips that you can give, even to myself, like here, I'm writing notes, guys, but the application process of actually becoming eligible and possibly being gifted and given one of those investments?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I just started this role, I guess this opportunity in January, but currently, if you're on the line, do type it in. It's called, I'm an angel, part of Atomico's angel program. Mm-hmm. So Atomico, ATOMICO angel program. And there's other 18 other incredible angel investors from London to Paris, who also are investing in diverse founders. And one of our goals is to really make sure that this opportunity is accessible as possible. So and one way we're going to do that is through office hours. So if you head over to YSYS, we have on our website, we have a sign up form that you can join and attend, where we'll be doing office hours. And I'm going to try and make myself more accessible through that. So yeah, office hours are a great way to meet angels. Do the same thing, like DMing people, like that's okay, like sliding into the DM with like 2 sentences, like, hey, I saw that you're interested in like SaaS or enterprise. I'm working on something interesting. Here's a Calendly link, or let me know what time you're available. That can always work. LinkedIn. Also, another way is if you've noticed like an angel or an investor has blogged. For some reason, I haven't got into it.
Yeah.
For some reason, like VCs and angels love blogging about the industry that they're into. And I think that's always a natural, organic way to connect with someone, where if you've seen something that they've written, you're like, I really loved how you spoke about how the e-com industry is changing during this COVID era. That's really exciting. I'm actually working on an Afrocare product and I see us fitting into that. I would love to get your time. Because that way they see, wow, you've read something that I'm interested in. You positioned yourself in a way that makes me more excited and I want to get to know you more. So yeah, those are some of my ways. But I do think that finding angels currently in industry is like super hard. And like even having a program that I'm on now is really great, because it just means that there's more people that are accessible, that are diverse, that represent London and Europe, that can like possibly change, the game and help people.
You mentioned office hours. Can you just expand on that, just in case those that's listening, watching might not be 100% clear on what that actually entails?
100%. Yeah, apologies for the lingo. So office hours are like basically like an open forum. A one-on-one session is basically a one-on-one session where you can get to meet with either an investor, an angel, or an expert and talk about your business. So that's what it is.
All right. And DMing people is not too bad then, but obviously hype them up first. And don't go into DM like, hi, you need to help me because I'm amazing. Obviously, you've got to kind of serenade and be like, hello. Make sure you at least know what you're talking about before you get in there. But that's a great tip, because I know sometimes a lot of people are like, DM, should I? Is that a bit, trespassing, too much, too close? So thank you for kind of clarifying that. At least those that's locked in will be able to kind of find that as a system and as a way through. There was another thing that I wanted to ask you about. So how do you think finding jobs in startup world is different versus the corporate world?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think so. The startup industry is a catch-22, because unfortunately, a lot of times some of these roles come from referrals, right? So someone might refer their friend or refer someone great they know. And that's always great, because if you happen to be diverse talent and you refer diverse talent, it's only going to be more diverse. But if you're not, then it means it's only potentially only going to be more white and male. And so but also what's also great about the startup industry is that there's various ways that you can highlight your career or your interest in a particular role. Whereas with the corporate industry, I feel like they often are heavily reliant on qualifications. Mm-hmm. So in a corporate industry, I mean, if you're trying to be a lawyer, you've got to like go through, have this qualification, I can't remember what they call them, non-verbal, verbal reasoning test. You've got to have like an assessment day. It's so long. And so many things just to prove your capability. But I think in the startup industry, having things like, it's going to sound so weird, but like having things like Twitter, LinkedIn, blogging, if you have a newsletter, so there's great platforms such as Substack and Review and MailChimp that you can write your own newsletter and share your thoughts and interests in a particular industry. And those are things that you can actually then put on your CV, where in the startup industry, that is attractive. That is a great thing. Also, doing things outside in your spare hobby. So if you launch your own startup, if you've gone on a hackathon, and a hackathon is where you can basically build something in 3 days and you get to show this product that you've worked on to a community or to a team or to a room of experts. Doing stuff like that, put it on your CV is great. Those are things that are never going to be looked down upon, especially even I can say it as YSYS. When someone comes and applies for a role at our company, if they do something on the side, we're like, that's great, because it means you're entrepreneurial, you're creative. We want to know more. Whereas I know in some corporate industries, people might have to hide that. Yeah. And so I think that's what's a little bit different. Yeah.
Loving it. So many people are also loving this conversation too. We have a few questions from the audience. One is, what's the best way to start building my network?
Mm. So I would say start. This is a good question. I never know where to start with this one. Well, look around you. First of all, who like your friends and your peers around you. So it depends what kind of network you want to build, right? And so I'm going to go backwards. Are you trying to build a network in a particular industry? Like you want to know software engineers? Are you trying to build a network of individuals that maybe one seniority above you? Are you trying to build a network of people that you can sell businesses to? I don't know what type of network you're building because all of those require different strategies, right? So let's just say you're trying to build a network of people that are managers within marketing managers, right? So looking around you, are your friends currently around you? Any of them marketing managers? Are they marketing associates? Are they marketing interns? Because they're going to eventually in their career go up and up. Start a WhatsApp group with them. Let's say, hey, let's just be part of a WhatsApp group. Let's keep upskilling each other, sharing resources with each other. You're speaking on a panel. How can I go join you on that panel, amplify the work that you're doing? So-and-so has just released an article. Hey, everyone, let's just share it on LinkedIn. When they share it on LinkedIn, comment. If someone else comments on it, comment, then add them. And then the same thing on Twitter, add, comment, talk. That's one way. Go to events, go to places which you might feel are slightly uncomfortable and allow that uncomfort to really drive you. Like take part in roundtables. Obviously, everything's on virtually now. So virtual roundtable events, hackathons, programs, apply to mentorship programs. Even if you feel like, because sometimes the great value from those programs is the people that you meet. And trust me, 2 or 3 years, those people are going to be in incredible positions and you'll be one of them. So again, looking at who's around you and starting close tight networking groups with them. So that can be on WhatsApp, that can be a Twitter group, and then amplifying each other's work and sharing opportunities with each other and joining programs that really highlight or stress peer-to-peer networking. I think that's a great way to build your network.
This is fantastic. And a lot of what you've been saying as well is definitely transferable to whatever you want to do in life as well. If you've got a passion or something you want to start, you're definitely dropping them gems to just give those that's on the call a head start. So we've got loads of questions rolling in right now. The next one is, what should I do to develop my soft skills?
Yeah, this is a good one. So joining communities. It sounds so interesting. I'm probably just like plugging YSYs everywhere. But honestly, our programs are exceptional. We currently have a software engineering program going. We did a product design program on our last program, and for 5 of our alumni are now all in paid jobs, which is great. Anyway, so yeah, joining programs are really important where they can teach you employability skills, helping you build your confidence, how to collaborate with a team. If you don't know where to find those programs, I'm going to name a few communities right now. So there's YSYS, there's Foundervine. So that's Foundervine, they're a community helping talent launch startups and get into tech careers. There's One Tech, so that's ONE and then tech, write that down. And there's also TriTech, which is TRYTECH. And those are great communities just to start off with that currently have soft skills programs and support currently running. Ways that you can also build it independent of yourself is just practicing. Again, once you build that network, everything really just connects, right? So you've got your close, keep saying the wrong word here, close tight community. And then you could just practice, like, guys, I want to jump on a call. Can someone help me practice my interview skills? Or like, let's work on a collaborative project together. Or like, I want to put this video out on YouTube, but can you guys just check it out? So really just leaning in to your peer-to-peer network and rehearsing some of the things that you want to work on during an interview or elsewhere. I hope that made sense.
No, that made sense. We have got YSYS, One Tech, TriTech. I'm writing this all down. I'm ready for this. So please make sure you are keeping notes of this. This information won't just be handed out so easily and so accessible.
Another one, Create Jobs. Cannot forget Create Jobs. We work with them, incredible partners, and they run so many upskilling, support, mentorship programs. So that's Create Jobs. Reach out to them. Email them, tweet them, Instagram them, tell them you heard about them from this event. They've got an incredible team and loads of programs, which are great.
Love this, Deborah. Got another question. So you mentioned you were introverted in your early 20s. As someone who's quite shy, I'd like to know, how did you navigate networking at your age?
Yeah, I was so nervous. Like, when your probably happens now, when your lip starts quivering, it's terrible. But I realized that actually the thing that you think makes you so different, the thing that you makes you so shy is actually your superpower. And so I was someone that was very introverted, but it meant that I built better relationships with individuals one to one. So I would go to an event and I'm not trying to get to know all 200 people there, but I might just meet one person, and that one person, I will add them on LinkedIn. I will get their phone number and I will build a relationship with them because I'm okay dealing on a one-to-one relationship. That's what I feel comfortable with. But that's what I felt comfortable with at the time. So I recommend, if you are going to networking events or joining virtually, even if you leave with one connection, like, pat yourself on the back for that, because that's really great. And I can tell you one incident where I was really shy and this one connection was great. And I remember I was hosting this investor lounge where I had to connect investors to startup founders. And there was 20 people in the room and everyone was white. And I felt so shy and so nervous. But there was another woman in that room, and I was like, I'm going to connect with her because she's a woman, and I feel like I can talk to her as well. And I remember I connected with her, and she was incredible. We stayed friends, and 2 years later down the line, her career just soared, and she's now launched a 27 million pound VC fund investing in startup founders, and we've done incredible projects together. She actually gave me my first bit of money to invest in a startup called Bubble, which is a marketplace for babysitters. Now, I was in a room of 19 men and one woman. And, I was very nervous, but I said, let me make that one authentic connection with someone that I feel like I might have rapport with. And that's how I got through it. So again, to that person, I had that question, leaning into that thing that you makes you feel like it makes you different, using that as your superpower. And the other thing, I'll just say, like, know your stuff as much as you can, because that will always give you the confidence you need. So if you're like an expert, SEO person, an expert software engineer, even if you're quivering or you're shaking, you know your stuff. So no one can ever question you on that. And that will give you all of the confidence that you need to navigate any room that you step into. And then just practice a lot. I always jump on Zoom before I jump on a panel talk just to see how I look or how I might come across.
You look cute. You're looking good. I'm loving everything you mentioned, and definitely the one, vibes don't lie. Do you know what I mean? That one connection you made, look, has brought out and opened up so many opportunities. So yes, if you feel something, the worst is going home and be like, oh my gosh, I wish I messaged that person. So or spoke to that person. So definitely please soak in all of these amazing tips. Okay, we haven't got a lot of time. We've got about 8 minutes left. The questions are rolling in, but I'm going to do as much as I can to make sure we get through to them. So another person from the audience has said they absolutely love your story, and I wanted to know, how did you get funding for your startup? Did you have an angel investor, or was it done a very different way? Please expand.
That's a great question. So with our organization, we're a service-based organization. So it mainly came through sponsorships and funding. We got our first bit of money from One Tech, which came through JP Morgan Foundation. But again, how that really came about as well was through relationship building, because I really want to stress the relationship building here, because I know everyone here is looking to really elevate their careers. And I always relate something back to a funny story. And so we got our first bit of money, which was a six-figure sum. And it came from an organization where I had actually been made redundant from, right? And I know that's happening during this horrible time. And I remember when I left that company, I was so upset. I was like, what's wrong with me? Why did they make me redundant? Why me? Why me? But I didn't allow that to turn me into a bitter person. I didn't allow that to stop me from pursuing the career that I wanted. And so I remained in contact with that organization. I sent opportunities their way. I collaborated with them. And how that deal came about was the fact that I still had a good relationship with them. And you remember that woman that I said that gave me the bit of money to invest in my first startup, right? She was working on that project with them. And she was like, we can't do this without Deborah. So she now WhatsApped me. She's like, Deborah, you need to come through. I'm just all saying this because, to just stress, relationship is so important. So wherever you've done your potential internship opportunity at, wherever you've gone on a program, please make sure that you always plant good seeds wherever you're at, and those seeds will grow. And make sure that people always walk away remembering something magical and special about you, even if that thing is you being introverted.
Love that. Be kind, okay? Be kind and be nice, because you don't know who is going to be there to pull you up the ladder or take you up there with them. So that is great to know, because I know sometimes when you leave companies, you're like, oh, bun them, man. You know what? I didn't even want it anyways. But it's so great to just see how, just being your true, authentic self and just being nice and just understanding it's not a personal, it's just business, has allowed you to flourish and be able to just soar to unimaginable heights. So this is great to know. Okay, please, I wish I knew this earlier in life, right? The mistakes I've made. So this is great. We've got time for one more question just before we head off. Did it cost anything to start YSYS? And was there any specific skills you needed at the beginning stage compared to now? These are some great questions.
Well done. Really, really intelligent questions. So sadly, I used a lot of my money in the initial stages. But what's really different, I guess, about our situation is that we moved from being a community organization, so this WhatsApp organization, we would, or WhatsApp community, we would just do things in our own time. So we used to host like brunches, sports day, and I would just use my salary to fund all of these things. To then moving from building a community to then managing a company, that was the biggest transition for myself, being a first-time CEO. And so I was lucky enough, I was lucky enough to get some support. And one of the things I tell everyone, if you're about to start a company, is to get yourself an advisory board. That is so important. And these can be people that are within, some of your peers or people that you've met on mentorship programs who you really respect their opinion and who really challenge you to think outside the box, and lean on them. And especially if you might have some gaps. So maybe like myself, finances aren't my forte. And so I lean on people that have a great background with numbers, have a great background with sales, have a great background with governance, and I lean on them. They really helped me then kind of scale the business as to where I wanted to get to. When it comes to how much I probably spent maybe £2,000 of my own money. Would I recommend that to anyone? Not really. But because there's so many great competitions and funding schemes out there that you can really find and get into. And some of those community groups that host them, I've already named.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this. If there's anyone that wanted to connect with you, would you be able to just kind of share the best ways? I know you mentioned LinkedIn, just in case that works for others as well.
No, LinkedIn, I find LinkedIn so overwhelming, but message me on Twitter. I'm definitely on Twitter. Slide into my DMs. My name is Deborah Kenla. That's my Twitter handle. And Instagram, do the same. Join YSYS, connect through, if you go on our website, we have a registration form, and do those various ways. I'd love to get to know everyone a bit more.
Thank you so much for this, Deborah. You've absolutely been a joy to have a conversation with. I know so many people have literally been messaging how amazing you've been, and just thank you for your time and all your gems. I'm just looking forward to kind of follow you too and just see your journey and see how you continue to grow and just be the best version of yourself. So thank you so much. I hope you all enjoy this. We're going to go into the second session now. For those that's just joining now and missed the first half, not to worry. If you just follow Hype Collective, they'll be able to literally let you know when they will be putting this out live, just for you to be able to see it when the time comes. So we're going to go into the second part of the session. We're going to be working our way through a typical application process at each company and outline some of the common mistakes or issues that you see. So it'll be great to make sure that you have your pen to paper, your notepad, everything to hand, because this is going to be quite rigorous. We're going to be going through it. And I know there are going to be so many gems and so many information to pick up from this. My name is Monica Lee. I'm your host. And on our panel, we have got Kamar. She is a UK university recruitment lead at Microsoft. Big up to Microsoft, hey. We've also got Charlie. He's a recruitment at Arm Line Management. And we've also got Sean. She is a senior account manager at Arm. So we have a compact, full lineup with these amazing people that are going to literally break it down, take you through the whole process. Make sure if you've got any questions, do put it into the conversation box, just so I can make sure that I can ask as much questions and just let you get as much as you can out of this, because this is for you guys. All right, we're doing this for you. But yes, let's go to Sean. Hello, Sean. How are you?
Hi everyone, I'm really good, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me on for the to the talk. Deborah was amazing, really. I was trying to get my pad out myself. Really good. Really happy to be here.
For those that maybe have not heard of you before, it'd be great to just give a little couple lines about who you are. Don't forget to pick up yourself. You're amazing and all the great things you do.
Absolutely. So I'm Sean Nelson Palmer. I am pretty much the global head of early careers operations. So what that role entails for me is I have a team of about 16 people, and we are the engine room, the operations for recruitment at ARM within early career. So all applications will come through my team, the scheduling of interviews, the scheduling of candidate experience days, feedback, the facilitation with Charlie and his teams in terms of communicating with the hiring managers. So that's pretty much all of that, that comms goes through my team. This has been my role for probably near on 15 years. I've been in recruitment for about 20 years or just over 20 years. But early career recruitment for me is where I'm most passionate at, and particularly within the diversity, inclusion, equality space, and just making sure that, you know, we're really reaching out to students from different backgrounds and making sure that we're attending the universities at the right places, etc. as well, and partnering with the right organisations.
Thank you so much, Sean. So you're the person to come to get that job, yeah? All right. Just keeping that noted. So you mentioned that you work with Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Well, you work in the same company, might not be within the same section. So Charlie, please do give us a breakdown of what you do, who you are. That would be fantastic.
So my name is Charlie Bridge. I've been at ARM for a little bit over 10 years, so nowhere near as long as Sean, but over this time, I've been working as a performance modeling architect. Most of the people here will not have heard of that. I didn't hear about performance modeling before I joined the company, and right now I'm one of the world's leading experts in the matter. So what I am doing at the moment is I'm just a line manager. I'm leading a team of 15, but it involves a lot of recruitment. And as a part of that, what I'm doing is doing a lot of the outreach programs, working with universities, finding people who have gone through university, who applied for a couple of places, they didn't get them, and then a couple of years later are no longer doing technical jobs. Finding them, they are still available, the old CV is still available on GradCracker. I like to track them down, try to bring them back into the industry. Basically, there is a lot of talent out there that's being wasted by them not being in the right positions, not being able to fulfill their actual potential. And a lot of this comes down to coaching for interviews. People are absolutely petrified from interviews, and rightly so. You're going to be judged. It's not a pleasant experience, but it just comes down to practice. So we're doing practice interviews. We're doing just outreach to universities to make sure that people understand what the possibilities are. And a lot of outreach programs going all the way down to code clubs, when from the young engineering schemes down to code clubs for people who are under the age of 10, starting them coding very, very early, so that they can experience it for themselves. And it's a great opportunity for everybody. But as long as, and we're going to talk about this today, you get through the recruitment process, you get to do your wonderful job that you have been trained for.
Don't worry, we're going to be coming back to you to get more information. Okay, so thank you so much, Charlie. We're going to go to Kamar. Hi, Kamar. You're the recruitment lead at Microsoft UK University. So please do tell us a little bit more about yourself and what your role entails.
Cool. Thanks, Monica, and great to be on a panel. So thanks for having me. Great to be an ARM consultant today. So I look after the UK early in career recruitment, and I've been in this role for around 3 years now. So that means all of our apprentices, our interns, our graduates, they come through our office. So I've been at Microsoft for 3 years, but in total I've probably done this for around 7 years, and I've worked across kind of banking, media, but I always came back to tech, because tech is my home. So kind of outside my day job of bringing in all of the talent, I'm a real active member of our BAME network, and I concentrate on our external initiatives there. But different to my day role, I look at helping industry professionals from a BAME background to kind of switch and think about careers in technology. So through that, I've been running tech training days, and we run insights to help people understand the culture and the roles that we have available at Microsoft. And I also support some of our BAME outreach teams that go out to universities to do upskilling. And then also I'm quite active in our Women at Microsoft network, and I support on a lot of our initiatives to help young females and non-binaries consider roles in technology.
Absolutely love this. All right, so as I'm already talking to you, let's just get straight into it. So talk us through the application processes at Microsoft.
So for all of our programs, it is the same application process. And I have to say it's very simple, right? So we only ask people to do a CV upload. Then you have a first round interview with a person. So it is virtually, but there is another person, it's not pre-recorded. And then if you pass that bit, you go to the final round, which at the moment, due to COVID, is virtual. What I will say is that the process is super simple, but what that means is you've got less opportunities to impress us. So it just means that you have to be real clear from the start, kind of what your intention is, the role that you're going for, make sure that that CV is tailored the way that it needs to be. So think about the role and how you can showcase the skills that you've already picked up to help you be successful in the role that you're applying to. Think about if you're going for a technology organization, and that's what we're talking about today, how can you tailor your CV to show us that you're genuinely passionate about tech? So is it through some of the projects that you've done? You know, we spoke about entrepreneurship. Is something you're doing kind of in your day-to-day entrepreneurial that relates to technology. And even if it doesn't relate to technology, it's a great mindset to have. So get that on the CV too. Anything that you do to kind of enhance your learning. And I think, you know, LinkedIn has got loads of learning opportunities that are there and available. We spoke about all these different platforms that you can go to learn tech skills for free, right? So if you're interested in technology companies, maybe you don't have all the tech skills that you need, there's definitely lots of places that you can go to kind of look for those. And when I see those things on a CV, it makes me feel like that person loves learning, which is really important, and really wants to be in tech. And that will help you to kind of stand out, I guess, in front of other candidates.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kamal. I'm going to go to you, Sean. Can you do the same, break down the application process at ARM and how it all works?
Super, yes, absolutely. So I mirror a lot of what Kamal was saying in terms of ARM. I suppose the slight nuances that we have are that we, I'm sure like Microsoft, we receive thousands of applications. And what we do try to do, our hiring managers, so Charlie and his team and hiring managers across the business are heavily involved in our process, which is quite unique because usually you would expect that a candidate would go through my team as a first port of call, which they do from a application screening perspective. But as soon as your application has been uploaded, we do, some of our hiring managers do ask for cover letters. So they're really happy to have a cover letter because I think what they're trying to do is get a bit more of a feel from you. And it's really difficult to do that just with a CV. And if, both CVs are studying at similar universities, similar degree discipline, they really want to kind of know a little bit more about you as an individual. So if it does ask for a cover letter, then please take the time. It doesn't have to be copious, but take the time to talk a bit more about bit more about you and what your motivations are through your cover letter. Once you've uploaded that, really simple application process, and then we will then move on to a next stage, where actually at that stage we would do a first initial screen, and then the hiring managers will screen and see the CV and the cover letter as well. They would then suggest a yes, and then we would send an asynchronatic video interview across to the candidate. And what I mean by asynchronatic video is that it will be a recorded video where there will be set questions, not time limited, so you can take your time to go through the questions until you're comfortable and happy with them before you submit them. And then the hiring managers view those videos, which I think is phenomenal, because we, as I said, we get thousands and thousands of them. So a part of that process is taken on by our hiring managers. Once they've happy with your video and your answers to your first stage interview, in effect, you would then move on to a second stage interview, which would be a face-to-face interview, and very similar to what Kamal was saying. At the moment it's virtual, but normally when we have back in the offices, we would be able to take you round, show you the amazing offices that we have at ARM, have you connect with other graduates, but it is just a kind of a virtual experience of that, which would be face-to-face with possibly a different hiring manager that may have viewed your hire view. So we get two differing opinions from the team that will be selecting you, and then you'd be given feedback soon after. So that's kind of the standard for our part-time undergraduate program, and also for our graduate recruitment program. I think the only nuance would be that we've now created an apprenticeship program. So we will be going live with applications for the apprenticeship program imminently in the next couple of weeks, and they will be at level 4 and level 6, and we're doing things slightly different. So we will be asking a series of kind of long answered questions to ensure that we are capturing candidates from different backgrounds. It's not all about experience. We're really looking at your agility and your learning agility, and how well you're looking to perform, and how potentially you could perform in the role. So it's all about potential in that role, as with the part-time undergraduates as well. So slight nuances in the apprenticeship route, but for undergraduates and graduates, it's exactly the same route.
Absolutely love that, Sean. And for those, Sean just dropped a little bit of gem there. There's going to be an application opening up very soon, so make sure to just stay alert and look out for it. Okay, to you, Charlie. So Sean has obviously kind of expressed her role and how it all works. It will be great to know, what is your role in the application process?
Right, so the way that we receive all of the applicants, and there's quite a lot of applicants that we kind of look through, we do have lots of different roles in the company. And I lead one of the teams. There are about 20 other teams and 20 other managers who are doing the similar thing. At the CV stage, what we're looking for is standout candidates, people who are obviously really, really good fits for for your roles. And we, at that point, we mark them as, watch this person. We want to see them go through. Nearly everyone goes through the CV stage over to the the pre-recorded interview stage. At that point, you will be asked a lot of different questions. Not all of them will be kind of suitable to you directly, but you answer all of them. As a manager, I will only be interested in specific ones, and those are the ones that I care about. If you are not very good at some other skill, that doesn't matter to me. I'm only interested in those ones, and then I'll be progressing you through to the next stage, which is the actual live interview. That's going to be the hardest one. That's a 2-hour interview with up to 3 hiring managers who are all interested in you. And we'll probably talk about those questions in a minute. Just to talk about the pre-recorded interview, it's a little bit cringy. You're talking to like a brick wall, and we've seen it all before. It's absolutely fine. I've done it a dozen times because I try out all the interviews myself. I've tried it at the different companies as well. It's absolutely fine. We're just trying to see what it is that you do and don't know. There's also a coding challenge for the software engineering roles. You get to try things out, and you can take as much time as you like. We get to see the way that you progress through it, and it's fascinating because as a manager, I don't have to spend an hour looking at everybody's code. We have very, very powerful tools to just look at it, see how they broke down the problem, see how they solved it. That way we can err on the side of caution, and I think that's very important. It's very easy to kind of reject people at CV stage. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather see them progress through and give them every opportunity rather than unfairly knock somebody out very early. And that would have been actually a very good person that we just didn't get a chance to see. So finally, the most important thing, the final interview, 2 hours, highly technical, myself, 2 other managers usually. But yeah, we'll take that in a minute, because I think that deserves its own question.
And I was just going to come to you with that question anyway. So there's no doubt that you are an expert in your field. And it will be great to know, how do you look at applications differently from a recruiter? And is there anything people should factor in for you?
So I think what we look for is the ability to prove the things that you've learned. It's very easy to go to university and to pass all of your courses. What differentiates you from everybody else is that you have what we call applied it in anger. So you've taken something that you've learned and you've actually made something. And that can be anything from little hobby projects. GitHub is a fantastic resource that you can put your own projects down and implement them and show them off to the world. Anybody can come along, see what your coding is like, prove, you can very easily prove to them that you're pretty good at it. And the really big things are that a lot of people suffer from chronic shyness about the things that they do, and it's difficult, and it comes from practice. Nobody wants to be criticized for making something, and you put your heart and soul into it, and everybody says that's rubbish. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And when we see that that person's gone through that cycle of having to put their heart on the line a lot of the times, because it's something that is very deep of your character. You think I'm the best programmer in the world, and if you show it off and people don't like it, then it kind of chips away at your soul. But if you've gone through that and you've come out the other end, that's a really, really good sign.
Lovely. Thank you for going into details with all of that. And I hope everyone, you're taking notes, and please do feel free to send in some questions. Like, you're getting some hacks here, okay? You are getting some information that you wouldn't get on a day-to-day basis. So soak it all up. I'm going to go to you, Kamar. So how do you look through a CV? So if you can just give maybe just 4 or 5 lines and just letting people know what the processes are.
I want to say, so the first thing I want to say is that in reality, you probably got around 20 seconds, right? When I look at, and I personally look at thousands of CVs per campaign. So recruiters won't go into it in massive amounts of detail. So it's really important that the things that are important to you are on that page, relevant, top of that page. So that's one of the things, making sure that your CV is of the right length as well. So, if you're early in career, there is no reason why your CV should be more than 2 pages. But I have seen 3, I have seen 4. So you need to learn how to be succinct. Things like making sure that, spelling mistakes, grammar, you haven't got the most up-to-date information. We appreciate that you guys are always really busy with exams. There's lots of other things that are happening outside of you just kind of interviewing and applying for roles. So use your network. We've spoken about networks today. Ask somebody to just have a look over that once you've finished, because what you meant to say, it might not be what you're actually saying. So try and get somebody to cast a second set of eyes over it. But yeah, it's those things. It's making sure that you're super succinct. You're using like industry specific language. You're going for a tech organization, talk about transformation, talk about innovation, things like that, right? Then just making sure that everything in there is as up to date as it should be. The amount of times I've knocked a candidate out of the process because they haven't put their graduation date correctly on a form, which is insane, to lose a role just for something silly like that. And then, where you can tell a story about who you are through that CV. And if you want to create, some places require a cover letter, but, if you want to, you can create a cover letter to add a little bit more flavour, as Sian was saying, to who you are as a person. So Yeah.
Thank you. No, that was great. Great. Sean, is there anything you'd like to add on to what Kamar has said?
I mirror everything Kamal has said, because I think ultimately, there are thousands of applications, and we want to do justice to everybody that's taken the time to apply, and that's often very difficult. So it definitely is, highlighting the areas that you're really proud of those achievements. We are, of course, if I'm looking at a role, or my team are looking at a role, they will have spoken to the hiring manager and know what the standard requirements are for that role. So I think it's really, teasing those things out, which I think Kamar alluded to, making sure that you are looking at the job description and that you are actually, highlighting where you may have used that, particular skill set in whichever guise. So you're kind of matching and mirroring along the way, because the job description is really the job description of what we're looking for. We're not looking for 100 extra things outside of the job description. We've taken our time to put the job description together and make sure that we've been really clear about what it is that we're looking for. So yeah, I agree. And I think just to the point of getting someone to give a second four eyes glance on it, that makes all the difference. So that could be mum, dad. They don't have to know what you're even talking about. It could be your older brother or whomever it might be, but someone that can just add a different flavour to maybe the grammatical errors that you might have made, or just can make it a little bit more succinct without it being pages and pages long, I think really makes a huge difference as well.
Thank you for adding that. Oh, go on.
Add something, Monica. I just wanted to say, we talk about experience, and I just really want to highlight that your experience doesn't need to be in a corporate organisation. It doesn't need to be a formal work experience. What you've done in your part-time job, you will have transferable skills, and it's just the way that you tell the story. So don't give us a list of all of your responsibilities of what you did. I used to work at Sainsbury's when I was at uni. I know what a cashier does, but talk about where you've created impact, or where you've been able to show those skills that we're looking for in the job description.
Thank you. Sean, so Kamar did mention a few issues in the early stages that really puts her off, and be like, come on, like I need more from you in the application process. It'll be great to also know from you, is there any common issues that really just makes the application just be like, no, I can't do this. I can't have you on this role, just so that the audience will be able to just get a pick of what is your do's and definitely what are the don'ts not to do.
So I think probably my biggest bugbear is that, I know that with students, time is of the essence, but, if you stay up late at night and you're filling out your application form and you're doing it for several different companies, do not mention that it's, that I'm really looking forward to working for Microsoft when actually you're applying to ARM. So I think that it sounds like really commonsensical, right? But, it happens, and it happens a lot, that when people are rushing, or they're just copying and pasting across maybe a few different screens, or maybe they're trying to just get as many applications in. I do believe, and I think it's wise for you to consider where you're applying and what you're applying to. Don't blanketly just apply. Think about it. Does this organization mirror what it is that I'm trying to achieve from my role? What is it that I like about ARM or Microsoft? Have I looked at their core beliefs, and does that mirror my core beliefs? And it's things like that you can go away and investigate and bring that out and draw that out in your application, just to tailor that and bespoke it a little bit more. So I think for me, that's probably my biggest bugbear. Obviously grammatical errors, spelling errors, those sorts of things are clumsy, and attention to detail is exactly what we do. So making sure that it's really sharp is equally important to me.
Thank you so much, Sean. Come on, I see you nodding over there like agree, like yes, please don't do this. Can you list maybe one or two more things that really irks you, and it's definitely a pet peeve that you're like, please do not do this? Like, you sound fantastic, but this is just really not getting it.
I think so. We think outside of CVs, and let's think first round interviews. I think the things that really bug me is things like generic motivation. So when you ask, why do you want to work at Microsoft? They just tell you a big tech organization, I've used your products. And it's like, you didn't choose to use the products in school. It's just kind of the package that your school bought. So that's not enough. So what Sian was saying about kind of what are the values of the organization, you need to be able to articulate why they resonate with you as a person. And that's really important. So I think, generic answers like really bugs me. I normally stop people and say, okay, minus Microsoft, that's just anybody. And then I ask for more specifics. And then just thinking about when you get to this first round interview and the final round. So we use strengths methodology, and where candidates, because some of the questions can be quite situational, candidates give very, very short answers. And that is probably one of the biggest issues that we see. So making sure, people will talk about STAR technique all the time, making sure that you structure your answers in a way that allows you to give the detail that you need to do. And then actually what turns an answer from kind of good to great is, again, being able to weave in the values of the organization into the answer that you're sharing. That's my A star. So if you're taking notes, please take notes and make sure that you've taken that one down.
Please listen to Kamar, okay? And Sian, that's all I'm saying right now. I'm going to go to you, Charlie. So when people are applying for roles that have a very niche skill set, what can people do to stand out?
Oh, that's a hard one. We do have some requirements. So, for example, we will say you need to have C or C++ knowledge, and that is just a requirement, full stop, and there's no way of getting around it. And if it is a requirement and you're applying, you should probably question that. That doesn't mean that you can't go get another role within the company, but that's probably not the role for you. If you've got the skills, you should apply. And I think people don't realize how many niche roles there are out there that you already have the skills for. Chances are you probably have never heard of the company that you'll be working most of your life. Most of the technology companies are making widgets for jet engines or database middleware or fluid dynamics for cement mixers. These are weird things that I probably wouldn't have even considered, but people make massive careers out of these things. So just because it's a role is niche doesn't mean that you can't do it, and it requires some specific skills that you don't have. Most of companies are looking for people who they can build up, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a company that can take what you have learned at university and what you know currently and build on top of it, make you a specialist and give you lots of transferable skills afterwards. So it's hard to find. These companies don't come everywhere, but what you can do is you can spot that through the art of the interview. As you're being interviewed by some company, and I recommend you go for many interviews because it takes a lot of practice, you figure out whether they are interested in developing you. Whereas during the interview, they will give you lots of questions like, how would you solve a particular problem? And you'll go step through the answers. And a good interviewer will go, actually, here's something that you've done wrong, but I'll correct you and I'll try to help you get to the final destination that you're going through in this process. Remember that the interviewer is probably going to be your boss. So if that person's got an uncontrollable urge to teach you something because they're so passionate about it that they really want you to know this because it's really, really important to them and they want you to actually progress, that's some place that's going to train you, give you lots of skills, even though it's like in possibly a niche area that you've never even heard of, and it will develop you into that thing. If the interviewer just says, no, you're wrong, no, I can get better candidates who do know this stuff already, then that's probably somebody that wants a ready developed person who can just do the job and never need to be developed. So don't be afraid from niche situations. No, don't be afraid from niche technology positions. They will develop you and it's absolutely fine. You can probably do that job.
Thank you so much, Charlie. We've got about, I can't believe the time has gone by so quickly. We've got about like 3 minutes left, and we still haven't even got through like some of the audience questions. So if it's okay with you guys, just an extra 5 minutes, just so we can just run through those. And whoever deems fit to answer it, please feel free, instead of just going through individual, each of you sorting it out and kind of answering the question, just to make it go a bit quicker. So it's going to be the last question from me to the panel before the audience gets involved. So, Sean, how are application processes changing in corporate? Is automation a bigger factor?
Absolutely, 100%. I think the more, what we want is the right applications. We want to receive applications, of course, but, to get thousands and thousands of applications that may not be suitable, we have to utilize and optimize automation for sure. I think what we've, in order for it to be scalable, yes, 100%. Kimar talked about strength-based approach. I think most people are moving towards that approach, knowing that not everybody has a level of experience. So, going down a competency-based route, it's really difficult for some people, particularly from maybe for those from a lower socioeconomic background or have never had an interview, or maybe English isn't first language, to really be able to articulate their level of confidence, whether that's via their CV or their application or even an interview. So I think what we're trying to do, just drawing on what Charlie was saying, is really try to understand somebody's skill sets and how well they could perform at the role, and what's their learning agility, where can we see this person developing into. So yeah, 100%. So don't be afraid if there is technology such as a video interview, or whether there is some coding or some challenges. Usually they know exactly what it is that they're trying to look for, and I think females in particular trying to see a test and get really nervous and start to go into panic mode. So again, don't worry about it. Just take your time. It's not about the time that it takes. It's about how accurate your level of accuracy.
Amazing. Thank you for answering that for me. And just the last question for you, Kamar. What are the hardest skills for you to find in applicants, sorry?
I think for us, because I look after kind of roles that are a combination of technology and kind of business focused, for me, it's the commercial skills that we really struggle to find. And I think it's hard to even articulate, and it's hard for universities to teach those types of employability skills, because I don't know if they're fine, they're teachable when you're in the workplace, but before that, and that's the problem, I don't know how teachable they are. So it's the difference between, a good candidate and a standout candidate is somebody who really understands like technology as an industry. They don't need to know everything in detail, but they are reading the right articles, they are following the right people, so they have a good understanding. Whereas a lot of the time we see people who've got raw potential and still great candidates, but they just don't have that level of commercial acumen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. Okay, let me just run through about 3 quick questions. Don't worry, just fire at them. And if we can, maybe if there's any questions that the audience would like to have answered that we couldn't cover, we'll be able to just send over a quick email. And in your free time, when you have time, because I know you're all very busy, please feel free, and we'll be able to kind of put that back out to those that locked in today. So someone from the audience have mentioned, like, I have been told that changing your ethnic name into an English name on your CV can be advantageous. So I would be interested to hear the panel's thought.
No, slightest. For a start, we have a discussion recently as to whether we should give an extra advantage to female applicants. My problem with that is that I don't know the gender of the applicants. In the technology area, only about 30% of the applicants are white. And I can spot female white applicants' names, apart from that I can't. I wouldn't know the race or the gender of the vast majority of applicants. And if anybody actually chose based on those facts, that would be outrageous. It just wouldn't work. So the technology area, by far, and I've worked in many other areas, is by far the least discriminatory. Everything's evidence-based. Anything that isn't evidence-based is just looked down upon. Because we're scientists, we want to get the right answer rather than pushing some sort of socio-political agenda along the way.
Thank you. Was you going to say anything, Kamar?
I think I was just going to add on, if you're thinking that you need to change your name to work for an organisation, that is not the organisation for you. So go work somewhere where people have names that sound more similar and you can see people that look like you working there.
Thank you. Another question. Are there any CV hacks for getting through the ATS systems, and how do we tailor our CV to ensure that we stand out?
Well, I would say make sure that every single one of your requirements is actually listed in your CV. If it says MySQL databases as a requirement and you only have databases in your CV, put it in your cover letter. Make sure you say, oh, by the way, when I say I've got database experiences, specifically with MySQL, specifically with that one, just so it matches all of the requirements. Most of these things will only filter out based on the specific requirements. As long as you have those listed, you're okay.
Thank you for answering that, Charlie. Another question, with regards to names on cover letters, are you supposed to do your own research to find a hiring manager's name?
I don't think it matters, to be fair. I think from that perspective of your cover letter, you're applying to ARM or you're applying to Microsoft or wherever you're applying to, and you would do your normal salutation of dear sir, dear madam, or hello. I think tech is a very different industry than if you were going into banking. If you rocked up to ARM's reception on the day where we were open, there would be a receptionist in a hoodie. So we're not all about the formalities. You'll know that once you get and start applying and working for organizations. I think as long as you address all of the key points that you want to in your cover letter, it doesn't really matter whether you address it to somebody or not.
Thank you, Sean. Kamal, I've got a question for you. Are there any more free slots available to learn Microsoft Azure fundamentals? I might not be pronouncing that correctly, so please feel free to correct me.
So not for this quarter, but we are doing a piece of work with the university's team. So follow me on LinkedIn, and when we start releasing the new dates for the Azure fundamentals, we'll get you in. But you can still do Power Platforms. That's still open if you haven't signed up already.
Perfect. And a final question, should we include a profile photo in our CVs?
No. I just feel like if you don't need to identify certain aspects of yourself, then why would you? It's not, I see it actually with our European CVs, we see a lot of, and I think it might be a standard thing there, but there is no need for you to, like, you have your LinkedIn profile. So if somebody wants to check what you look like, they can go there, but you shouldn't, that's not the reason why we're hiring you.
Absolutely. 100%. I think I'm in agreement. I'm always surprised when I see, even though I know, like Kamal said, our European counterparts, it's a standard, but I'm always surprised when I click on a CV and I see a picture, because it should be completely irrelevant. To me, it's exactly the same with names. If we went completely autonomous and didn't have a name, we don't share any details with our hiring community around, any detail about ethnicity, diversity, or any of those things. That data is irrelevant to your application. So no, I don't think you need a picture on there. One thing I'd like to add though, Monica, as well, I think the interesting thing when we talked about, I know we went on very briefly to talk about interviews and time ran out very quickly. If we're talking about networking, so following on from what Deborah was saying earlier, it's really good once you've had an interview to, whether you've been successful or unsuccessful, and you get your feedback and you're really gracious about it, connect with that individual. LinkedIn is a powerful tool, and if I've interviewed a candidate and they linked in with me, I think that's a really good thing, that they're taking the initiative to keep that connection going, because you never know down the line, whether it's a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, you can see that person's journey as they're moving through different organizations and different roles, and you never know, it's a small industry and it's a small world, you may come back round again. So it's really good to have that connection after you've had the interview, or even check them out on LinkedIn before your interview is always good as well. So you can go on LinkedIn and have a snoop. I always like that if I've seen that someone's looked at my profile before, because it shows that they're really interested and they're engaged and ready to to be successful at their interview.
Thank you so much. And to add on, that's just them being super proactive. And it's great to be proactive, okay? It really is. But I know I've taken up 7 minutes extra of your time, but honestly, thank you so much. Sean, Kamar, Charlie, you've been absolutely phenomenal in like just answering all these questions and literally just giving out all these knowledge that is definitely going to help so many that is on this Zoom, this YouTube, that is able to watch us right now. So thank you so much. For those who's been locked in from the beginning, thank you for attending once again. This is Black Tech Broadcast. My name is Monica Lee, and we have one more session for you next week, Thursday, same time, 4 to 5 p.m. With some more extraordinary talent, just talking about just their journey and how they have progressed and just sharing their knowledge with you, which is literally it's a golden ticket, trust me, into just getting to where you need to get to within the tech industry. So once again, thank you so much. I don't even know what to say, but I'm going to link in like on LinkedIn. You saw what I did there, but I'm going to link with you all because it's definitely to just keep this going. And if you've got any questions, please utilize their LinkedIn. That's what they're most comfortable with, and I think that will be the best way in order to just keep things professional and definitely follow their journey and, you know, be proactive. You don't know, some of these opportunities are coming out soon, so don't try to get left behind. No one wants to be left behind. But once again, thank you so much, and we'll be back next week. You'll see my face again, same time. Take care.